Namaskar, my name is Poonam Gulalia, and in today's video we are going to be discussing an essential topic which is very valuable in our fieldwork journey. The title of the topic is process recording. So we need to understand what is recording, why is it important, what is process recording, why do we need to undertake process recording, and how can we use process recording for our own learning in the fieldwork space. Process recording is a written record of the work we undertake in the field on fieldwork days. It's a very essential tool in the fieldwork space. It includes facts, feelings, observations, activities and analysis of the student social worker during the fieldwork space, during the fieldwork day, on the fieldwork day. If we just use the synonym recording and use each alphabet of the word, you will be surprised to see and know the different aspects, the different elements which are incorporated and which can be valuable for us to write the process record. So if we use the alphabet R and think about it without giving any other thoughts, R could be reflection, it could be refresh, it could be recollect, it could be relate, it could be respect. Similarly, if you use the next alphabet in the word recording, E, what can the thoughts or the words come to mind with E, with the alphabet E? Empathy, entry, experience, engagement, many more. Expression. Why are we doing this exercise at the outset is what we need to understand here. That we are using these alphabets and the terms related to it which emerge when we think about these alphabets to enable us, again with E, to write the process recording and to make it a part of our lifestyle in the fieldwork journey of a student social worker. We would like to use this exercise, undertake this exercise to enable you to do an effective recording of the process undertaken in the fieldwork. Coming back to the exercise, we come to the next alphabet, C. What do you think comes to your mind when you think of an alphabet C? What are the words which come to your mind which could be useful for your process recording? It could be concern, it could be collaboration, it could be caring. There are many other alphabets. In this journey, the next alphabet is O. Immediately what thoughts come to my mind? Organize, opt, optional, openness. You could have others which you may pen down as you write these alphabets. Again, the next alphabet is R again. It could again mean reflection, revisiting. What else? Reading. We need to read even as we go along in our practice component. Reflection, reading, recording, realistic approach, real time. So we are in real time when we are doing field work. What is the next alphabet? D. Again, words which come to mind: debate, discussion, dialogue, delivery, all useful for our fieldwork journey. The last three to go, I. Insight, inputs, idea, involvement. So our involvement in the fieldwork journey, our ideas about working with people in the field, insights that we gain in the process, all become elements of the process recording that we are discussing now. The last two alphabets, N. N could be, you could think of something like new, novel, necessary, negotiate. So some things are essential, necessary. We need to negotiate with people. We need to negotiate spaces for learning in the field. And last but not the least for now is G in the recording. What goes with G? What are the names which come to your mind? What are the words which come to your mind? What are the words which you are penning down now as we are discussing in this video? It could be growth, it could be growing, it could be goals, it could be group work, it could be gathering information. So these are some of the words which we use to make our journey effective when we undertake recording of fieldwork. As I mentioned, we need to discuss at this juncture the importance of process recording and why and how can we use it as a tool, as a skill that we need to develop for communication and for self-awareness. Whom do we need to communicate with? If you think clearly, you will realize in your fieldwork journey, we communicate with each other, we communicate with our co-worker, we communicate with our peers, we communicate with the people in the field, we communicate with the people who are in the organization through whom we go for fieldwork, we communicate with our supervisor, we communicate with other staff members, we communicate with resource persons, we communicate also with the local people in trying to find our way. Entry into the community requires. We communicate with passengers between leaving our homes or our hostels and reaching the place where our fieldwork is to be done. We communicate with many people in the course of our fieldwork journey, and it enables us to be aware of ourselves in how we negotiate these spaces for fieldwork. What is required in terms of understanding the importance of process recording? What are the observations which we need to pen down? What are the facts which we need to write down? What are the feelings which come to us as we move along the whole day ahead? What are the interventions, if any, we are required to make? What is the analysis we make of that? And how do we reflect on that? All become important and essential components of the process recording which we are going to undertake. So what are the facts then which require to be written down? Can we maintain a small pocket diary to maybe make some observation notes, to make what we call field notes, so that we can recall at the end of the day? Some of us find it easy to recall, some of us need to jot down some points so that we do not forget them. How mindful are we when we engage with people, when we can entertain them, when they can entertain us in our fieldwork journey as well? Also, we need to understand that in the process of process recording, we need to engage with people in the field. The writing of the process recording is at the end of the day process, but that should not hamper us with engaging with people. We might also be required to take permission of people before writing down their names or their backgrounds. So as we go along, these elements of confidentiality, the element of taking consent of people, these days we tend to use our mobile phones to record videos or to record audios because we find it convenient, but it also means that the privacy of the clients and the client groups needs to be taken into consideration. Sometimes as student social workers, we like to take pictures of ourselves in the field along with our clients. These are all aspects which need to be discussed with your supervisor, with the people in the field, with your clients, and with the organization which is enabling you to undertake fieldwork. We cannot take these processes for granted. So what is it that I'm trying to highlight by telling you the nitty-gritty of arriving at what is to be done in the field and how that recording is to be taken care of at the end of the day. If by chance you have in an unmindful way, without taking the consent, made any recording or written down any notes, we need to cross-check with your supervisor and with the organization when undertaking process recordings. The process recording, no doubt, is raw data, is a tool for teaching and learning, but it also means that we are mindful of, careful of what information we are taking from the field. Some students make the mistake of being too careful and writing the names of their clients or the client group members different from what they are in the field. We need to understand and appreciate that the student and supervisor are both in a shared confidentiality space. So you don't need to worry. We need to write down the names of the client groups as they appear, but for any future reference, it is recommended that we do not post such information on any social media platform or any WhatsApp group or any other space where their confidentiality would be hampered. These are very essential aspects in process recording. So what are the other elements which we need to keep in mind when we undertake process recording? The first and the foremost is the structure of the place, the description of the setting we are in, the climate that there is available. It could be the organizational climate. If we take an example of a group work exercise which is being undertaken in an organizational setting. So who are the group members present? How did we as a student social worker organize the group members? What is the kind of interaction which is taking place among the group members? Is there any conflict which is emerging? Is the agenda set out in advance? Are there any members who unknowingly are being dysfunctional in disrupting the activities of the group? And if so, why? What is the role which you or any other professional from the organization is playing in facilitating the group exercise? All these become the nitty-gritty, the sub-parts of that group work process which you are undertaking in the organization. It's also essential to write in detail as much as possible the role of the facilitator, the facilitation process and the closure of that group work process for that day. How is the plan going to be taken forward? Have the group members been able to converge on the outcome of that exercise? These aspects need to be written out in detail as a process record. So the plan for the future at the end of each fieldwork day becomes an essential component when you are undertaking the process recording. Also because it enables you as a student social worker to move from day one to the next day and enables you to retain continuity of the fieldwork process which is being undertaken. When you maintain your recording file with each process recording day after day of fieldwork, it enables you to see your own trajectory of growth from day one to the end of fieldwork. Whether it's semester wise or year wise, it enables the supervisor and facilitator also to guide you, to support you and to complement your work by giving inputs to you from one process recording to the next. So the end of the week, the attempt is that you share your recording with your supervisor. They go through it, they get the time to read it, reflect on it and give you the necessary inputs. So if we use 3 acronym here, RAR, reflect, analyze, review. So you too reflect on your fieldwork journey at the end of each day, at the end of the week as well. You analyze the kind of inputs you've made for your fieldwork and the way you have processed your recording, and you review your work as well before submitting it to the supervisor, who will also get the opportunity to use this exercise to give you inputs in a very careful, systematic and professional way so that you can grow from day to day. The feedback which is going to be provided to you through these process recordings would be both oral and written. Some supervisors find it comfortable and believe in giving more written feedback. There are others who find it more essential and comfortable to give more oral feedback. It also means and brings to light that it helps us to remind ourselves that the supervisory style of the supervisor and facilitator and the learning style of the student also need to match up in terms of providing feedback, in terms of receiving feedback, in terms of reviewing the process record, in terms of guiding and supporting the student to move from simple to complex and learning the skills which are required for recording, for documentation, and also for being a seasoned practitioner in due course of time. So process recording is an essential tool for all these processes, not merely for recording what you have done at the end of the week or end of the day. You will appreciate, I am sure, that sometimes students come to the supervisor and say, why should I write down what I have already done? I am over and done with it. Why do I need to write down in such detail? What is going to be served for me to first undertake field work, then to write it out in detail, then to discuss it with you in my supervisory conference, then to take feedback from you, and then to go back into the field? If you think clearly, is what I am trying to say to you now, is it's a loop. It's a loop which needs closure. It's a loop when initiated with planning for field work is brought to a closure with getting feedback on a daily or a weekly basis. It enables us as student learners to take the inputs from the supervisor, to see what works, to give them feedback on what has worked or is working, and also to discuss the feedback obtained from the supervisor with other field contacts or the staff or the agency personnel who are supporting us in our fieldwork journey. It's necessary to add here that the supervisor will not always be there shadowing you in your fieldwork. You could be shadowed by the professionals or the paraprofessionals in the field, and the learning spaces could be through many stakeholders. So there are many aspects of field work which will get recorded by you as a student learner in the process recording. It is essential now, I am sure, for you to understand that the process recording, as I mentioned a while ago, is not only for the purpose of documenting your work. It is to enable you to transform yourself in the journey of field work. It is an enabling exercise. It is a process of skill building as well. So how does the supervisor and the other people in the field enable you to learn the skills? How do we as supervisors transfer the skills which we have learned in our own professional journey to you as a student social worker? It could be an element of role modeling. If supervisors accompany you to the field, you would find the same supervisor whom you have seen in a different space in the college setting or across the table at a supervisory conference or in an informal space. You might find that person enacting the role of a social worker in the field. And those are also the spaces from which you as a student social worker will learn. There could be spaces where the supervisor would accompany you to the field, would travel along with you, would accompany you, would share lunch with you, and would come back probably to the organization or sit at the end of a local station or sit on the roadside along with their students and discuss what has happened and what is happening in the process of the fieldwork journey. So a lot is learned through role modeling. It could be both pro and cons. Let us be very realistic about the situation. We are all human beings, even as supervisors. Even the best of supervisors are human. And we might find as a student social worker that you are learning from being there in the field along with your supervisors, your co-workers. If we are more open to learning spaces, and I may say so in this space as well, we could also share the recordings of our peers with each other. It could be used as learning spaces in student seminars. Some of us have better writing skills than others. Sometimes our local language in which we have studied so far inhibits us from writing in the English language, which has been the practice so far. Some of us have better skills of expressing ourselves. Some of us are better at working in the field but need help in expressing ourselves in the recordings which we submit. We can support each other as co-workers, as peers in this process as well. It's not a test of English language ability. I'm sure you understand that. We do need to express ourselves. We do need to learn the skill. This skill is going to come in handy when we actually get our jobs. It is enabling us to get into the workforce. It is enabling us to get into the world of work. In the world of work, we will be required to do documentation. A lot of written documentation work is required and undertaken by a lot of organizations, a lot of newsletters, a lot of blogs, a lot of social media platforms need written matter to be posted when organizations expand their work, when they project their work. Their websites have a lot of written material. So it's essential to understand that what we may find a little difficult for now or a learning space for now will come in handy for us in due course of time, and it is preparing us to be a thorough professional. It is preparing us to be at par with other professions, with other disciplines, so that we feel confident and mature to go ahead with the task which we have undertaken. I am hopeful that you are with me so far in this video, which we are discussing on recording and process recording, the what, why and the how of process recording, the importance of writing good records, the importance of learning how to write process records, all are going to enable us in this transformative learning process of expressing our observations, delineating the facts which we have picked up in the course of our fieldwork journey, enumerating the feelings and the thoughts which we have during the fieldwork day, writing down the action which we have undertaken, maybe some intervention we have undertaken along with the organization staff or on our own, analyzing the work we have done and preparing for the next day or the next plan of action. Why do you think it's important that we need to write down our thoughts and feelings? This is the next aspect which I wish to discuss with you here. Writing down facts, giving factual information as part of the process recording may be simple, direct and obvious at one level, but writing down our thoughts and feelings at the end of each fieldwork day is essential, because we are individuals who have undertaken fieldwork. My thoughts and feelings on a particular day of a particular situation could be very different from the thoughts and feelings which my co-worker has had in a similar situation or a same situation. How is that possible? My background, my socialization, my personality, my mindset with which I have approached fieldwork on that particular day would impact my thoughts and feelings from a particular situation. if I am engaging with the client on a one-to-one basis, or I am undertaking group work in an organization, or I am engaging with people in the community, for example, who are probably migrant workforce, or who are involved at a construction site, or who have just moved into a new community and are settling down. My own unpacking of who I think I am as a student social worker, as a person, my own personal and social identity gets reflected and impacts my thoughts, which I need to write down. It's possible that during the course of my fieldwork day, I try to be at my best behavior, so to say. I do what is told to me, I try and implement what is asked for, I make the best of the opportunity in engaging with people on the basis of the learning plan which has been discussed. But my feelings towards what I am doing at that point in time is not what I am able to express, and that needs to be recorded. Am I angry at a particular situation? Have I taken the community for granted in engaging with them because I have seen a lot of migrant workforce? Do I get irritated when a group work exercise is being undertaken and people are disrupting the group and the agenda with which that group work exercise has been planned is not being achieved? Do I feel uncomfortable because of some bullying behavior which may be happening in the group? Am I upset because my co-worker didn't come to the field work that day and didn't inform me in advance and I am left alone to undertake that exercise? Am I surprised that the field contact person whom I thought would be there to enable me to undertake the group work exercise, for example, had to take leave? There could be so many reasons, there could be so many situations which will be different at fieldwork from what I had planned or imagined. And those situations could bring different kinds of thoughts and feelings, different kinds of reactions by me in the fieldwork day, which I need to write down, reflect on, analyze and review, so that RAR, which I mentioned a while ago, reflect, analyze and review, becomes extremely important as part of the journey of undertaking process recordings. I hope that you are able to be with me and are on the same page in understanding what is being communicated through this video, and that you will be able to take note of it, become mindful of it as you go along in the fieldwork journey. It will definitely give you reason to discuss with your supervisors and your facilitators, with the field contact persons and the paraprofessionals in the field whom you can shadow and learn from. It may be possible for me to conclude with a small fieldwork setting, although I have given some examples already to you which you can think about and reflect on. But if it comes to light, one small experience which I had along with student social workers, there was an outreach program of a government hospital in an urban setting. So it's an urban healthcare program, an outreach work being undertaken by the community. They have their own sub-office in an urban slum pocket. Now when students are going for field work, one of the experience was when students came back with and wrote the process recording, one of them wrote that she was extremely uncomfortable about being placed in that urban health center. When the supervisor asked, because she had not narrated it in the process recording, so one of the responses of the supervisor to that process recording in the supervisory conference which was held in confidence was that, what is it that made you uncomfortable? She had kept herself aloof on the first and the second day of being placed for fieldwork, saying that she was not feeling well. So in the process recording also she had written just that. When the supervisor asked her that what is it that transpired that day and what made you feel unwell? Were you unwell earlier and therefore you were keeping yourself aloof from engaging in the fieldwork that day? She said that she is very uncomfortable with hospital settings. The smell of the hospital setting makes her feeling sick. She feels nostalgic because she has associated some past memory of her own family member being admitted in the hospital for a prolonged illness. Now, why am I flagging this? It seems very simple, peripheral and simplistic sometimes, but it's essential for learning by the supervisor that how can the supervisor facilitate the fieldwork journey of a student in this context. How can the co-workers make it a space for co-learning and enable the student to engage with other aspects of the outreach program before acclimatizing to the setting where they are placed for fieldwork. So sometimes initial inhibitions, our own backgrounds, our own experiences which we've had may knowingly or unknowingly impact our fieldwork journey, and it's the process recording which highlights some of these aspects and enables us to grow from strength to strength. I'm really hopeful that this video will enable you in your fieldwork journey, will encourage you to write your process recordings in detail, will enhance your ability to engage with your supervisor, to discuss the process recordings in your fieldwork journey, and will enable you to work on your own documentation skills, on your own recording skills. Because now we have just discussed some examples, but there could be many more which we can discuss in due course and enhance your learning. I wish you all the best, and I am sure that you will do justice to what you have signed up for. We are all with you as partners in the journey of fieldwork. All the best and do take care. Thank you.